Joining me now is senior editor for the Federalist and Fox News contributor Mollie Hemingway and radio talk show host on New York's WOR, Mark Simone. Mollie, let me first talk about the swamp inside the Beltway, and you keep sharp eyes on that swamp. You must have seen a lot of swamp creatures in the halls of Congress recently trying to do everything they can to hold on to the tax code that they created. I'm hearing a lot of reports from Congress people that I talk to that they have never received as much attention from these lobbyists as now.
Well, I'm sure that people are very interested, but I actually think the mood is quite in favor of tax reform. Some of these things haven't been updated in decades. There's a lot of room to clean things up, clarify things. You know, just even that corporations have no incentive to keep their money here in the United States. Repatriating that money to the United States benefits them, it benefits our country. So there's actually a lot of room for negotiation. You're hearing a lot from the people who are loudly opposing it, but I think people should be optimistic that something can get done.
Very good news. Let me just stick with you for a second because I haven't heard such an optimistic twist on what's going on there. You still do have these people who are going to be fighting against it, but do you think that President Trump could use this popular swelling of support for tax reform to go over the heads of those lobbyists and go directly to congresspeople and senators who are being affected by these lobbyists and call them out by name?
Well, yes, but I also think that there will be a lot of, the people are really focused on making sure that everything comes out the way that they would like it. You're never going to get rid of the lobbyists. They're swarming all over the legislation.
No.
We have some good guidelines. We still need to have some clarification on how everything will work out. But it's not just, individuals who would like some tax relief. It's corporations that have not had any they've been suffering from globally high tax rates for 30-some years, and they're looking for change, and they're going to be applying pressure too.
And we had this drain of corporations from the U.S. over the past 5 years, Mark, that was unsustainable. I mean, you have to bring some of these companies back, and that's a very appealing part of the tax plan.
Yeah, now listen, everywhere in the world, corporate tax 12%, 15%. Here it's 38%. It's a suicidal policy. Bring it down to what it is everywhere else. It's a no-brainer. The problem is Republicans and Democrats want that high corporate tax. It forces every corporation to bring an army of lobbyists, buy every little loophole, every carve-out they need. If you took it down to 12%, great, but you'd never hear from any lobbyists again, and that's not going to happen.
Do you think, Mark, that the president would he single out people like Corker, for example, who's saying it's deficit neutral, unless you do everything possible to make it long-term, I'm not going to sign the thing, I'm not for. I mean, should he be calling out, he's done that in the past, individual senators and congressmen who seem to be affected by these lobbyists?
Absolutely. Hey, when they say, well, how are you going to pay for it? You don't have to pay for it. There's no law that the amount you spend now in the government has got to be the amount. You can bring down how much the government gets.
And that's actually, Mollie, what Secretary Mnuchin has said. He said it to our own Chris Wallace on Fox News Sunday. He said, look, the deficit may take a hit from this initially until we get the growth in to sustain more revenues coming into the U.S., but that goes against the Congressional Budget Office. I'm not too crazy about the CBO, but a lot of people inside the Beltway are.
They're very bad at scoring and predicting what's going to happen in the future. We actually know from, the Kennedy tax reform, the Reagan tax reform, even the Bush tax cuts, that what happens is you have a real nice boost to the economy, and that does pay dividends that are not accounted for. So that should be factored in as well.
We only have about a minute, but I got to ask both of you about this culture war, because I think it is a solid leg. If the president has three legs to the presidency, one is improving our position in the world, another is revitalizing our economy, and the third is somehow taking on and winning against the PC culture. Mark, I think he is making great strides in doing that, don't you?
He's brilliant at this, and they're ridiculously dumb at this. The flag, they're throwing him softballs right over the plate to hit. You can't lose at this.
Mollie, do you see that? Are they afraid that they're losing the battle? This is particularly on the left, the PC culture.
Right. I'm not sure you could say the right is winning, but you can definitely see that there have been some losses on the left. People always say, oh, Republicans need to be aware that culture comes before politics, and they have to focus more on the culture. That is happening. People are talking about some underlying issues about whether you believe in the foundational principles of the country or whether you think that we're irredeemably lost. That's a good discussion to have, and one that everyone should be having.
And one that I think Americans are ready to fight as well. Mollie Hemingway, Mark Simone, great to see you both. Thank you so much.